Yes, that's right. I don't think I'll ever do another 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. And it's not because I struggled a lot during my second retreat earlier this year. I talked about that experience on my previous video. It was way more challenging than my first retreat. But I was okay with that because I wanted to experience some form of mental transformation that will help deepen my daily meditation practice. That's why I was also considering doing this retreat once or twice a year. But the problem was that there were a few things that annoyed me about the course, so much that I don't think I can go through it again. Ironically though, those same annoying things did help to transform my mind in the end. Let me explain. Oh, by the way, I'm talking specifically about Goenka's Vipassana meditation courses. He was a teacher from Burma. There are other meditation retreats that you can do at Buddhist monasteries in Thailand or Sri Lanka, which I'm planning to do in the future. One of the things that irritated me the most is that Goenka keeps repeating throughout the course that this is a non-sectarian meditation technique, so anybody can practice it regardless of their background. Okay, but first, what exactly does non-sectarian even mean? Not affiliated with or restricted to a particular religious group. Well, the truth is that this is a Buddhist meditation course. All the evening discourses were actually Dhamma lectures, Buddhist teachings. Throughout the guided meditations, we also get to hear Buddhist teachings. And every meditation starts and ends with Goenka chanting in Pali, which is, again, you guessed it, more Buddhist teachings. I know, the Vipassana meditation technique itself does not include any references to Buddhism or other religions. You simply observe the body sensations with equanimity. But there is no way to learn this so-called non-sectarian meditation technique without having to be involved with Buddhist teachings. Okay, let me be clear. I have no problem with it being a Buddhist course. Even though Buddhism is not my path, I always felt deeply inspired by it. One of my first spiritual books was The Teachings of Buddha. One of my favorite spiritual films is The Little Buddha. I've also done several Buddhist meditation courses in monasteries in Nepal and in India. The issue that I have here is that Goenka insists this is a scientific, non-sectarian meditation technique while he's clearly promoting Buddhism as a superior path. Not only that, but he's not promoting Buddhism in general or any particular lineage, but rather his interpretation of the teachings of Buddha. He talks about the Vipassana technique as if this was the only meditation technique the Buddha ever taught. And according to Goenka, this Vipassana technique has been preserved in its pure form since the time of Buddha, that's more than 2,500 years ago, only in Burma, that's Goenka's home country. This to me is a huge red light. When someone claims to have the ultimate truth, the most authentic technique, you gotta be suspicious, right? Let me share with you a comment that someone left on one of my blog posts about my Vipassana experiences. As someone who has completed more than 30 plus Vipassana meditation courses in the Goenka tradition, I eventually involuntarily became involved with the politics and began to see the more subtle layers of what is happening at these centers. Goenka Vipassana is incredibly sectarian. Make no mistake, this is not Buddha's teachings. This is Goenkaji's interpretation of the Buddha's teachings, and it's as devotional as they come. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to read the full comment. On top of all that, Goenka seems to have a condescending attitude towards other traditions, especially Hinduism. I feel like he enjoys mocking Hindus. I can't recall any specific examples, and I'm not gonna listen again to all the discourses just to find a quote, but let's just say this was the overall impression that I got from the discourses. He was actually a Hindu himself, but he converted to Buddhism after discovering this Vipassana meditation technique. And that's great, but he talks about it as if he had left an inferior path to join something more authentic and effective. And in doing so, I think he indirectly encourages other Hindus to do the same. That really annoys me. He does mention several times throughout the course that all meditation techniques are good. But he also says that he has tried them all, and in his experience, nothing is as powerful and effective for mental transformation as this Vipassana meditation technique. I don't know about you, but in my opinion, if you think your path, your religion, or your technique is better than anything else, that sounds pretty sectarian to me, right? And then there is the chanting. Every meditation starts and ends with Goenka's chant in Pali. I know, this is very personal. Beauty is in the eye, or maybe in this case, the ear of the beholder. I'm sure there are plenty of people that love Goenka's chanting and feel inspired by it. If you're one of them, please let me know in the comments. Seriously, I would love to hear your perspective. But for me, it was just irritating. What's curious is that I love chants from different spiritual traditions. I absolutely love the Vedic mantras from India, which is one reason why I've been studying Sanskrit for the last few years. I've also spent plenty of time around Buddhist communities in Nepal, Cambodia, and Sri Lanka, so I'm familiar with their chants, which are either in Pali, in Sanskrit, or maybe even Tibetan, and I love them. But Goenka's chanting? Definitely not my cup of tea. I'm sure the original chants and their meanings are beautiful, but I guess it's the way he chants them that hurts my ears. Maybe it's his Pali pronunciation that I don't like, although I'll admit I don't know anything about Pali. Or maybe it's because of the way he elongates the syllables. Honestly, I like to think that it's actually my intuition telling me that there is something not honest about it. Something feels off. Please, if you have any similar thoughts or reactions, share them in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think. Anyway, whatever the reason, I just can't stand it. I have to admit though, I felt this way even during my first Vipassana course back in 2011. Even then, I didn't like his chanting. But at that time I found it amusing. I would literally laugh about it, in silence of course. This time, however, it was intolerable. I guess I was more irritable because I was struggling so much during the course. So anyway, I think these are more than enough reasons for me to say that I will never do this course again. However, I did have an interesting experience by the end of the course. On day 10, the last day of the course, this equanimity business was finally starting to click. During one of the meditation sessions, an inspired thought dawned on me. Maybe I should put in practice what I'm learning here. No. So when Goenka's chanting started at the end of that meditation, I decided to practice equanimity towards the irritation that I was feeling. I observed my emotional and physical reactions. I noticed the physical discomfort, the body tension, the changes in the breath, and so on, without adding any extra fuel to the fire. I simply observed. And guess what happened? Well, nothing really. Nothing happened at all. But during the following meditation, something quite surprising did happen. After a few minutes into Goenka's chanting, I realized that I had not noticed it at all. I had been completely oblivious to it for several minutes. And when I finally became aware of it, it didn't bother me at all. I didn't feel annoyed or irritated. I just didn't care, and I was able to continue my meditation practice. This to me was mind-blowing. Think about it. For 10 days, I had been reacting to his chanting as soon as it started. So I was making the same mistake I talked about in my previous video. Instead of equanimity, I was creating more mental impressions of aversion. No wonder my reactions were getting stronger with each passing day. But now, all of a sudden, the chanting didn't bother me anymore. I broke the cycle of creating more mental impressions of aversion, and I was able to change my emotional reactions by simply observing my body sensations with equanimity. So in the end, the things that I hated about the course became the means through which I was able to experience the mental transformation that I was looking for. That's amazing, and I feel very grateful about it. That said, despite this powerful experience and the beautiful meditation sessions I had on day one, which I mentioned in my previous video, I still don't think I'll ever do another Goenka Vipassana retreat. I just can't imagine sitting through his chanting or those evening discourses again, especially when he mocks Hindus or talks about how non-sectarian Vipassana is. Sure, it could be a great opportunity to once more confront my reactions and strengthen my equanimity. Also, having the opportunity to meditate for 10 hours a day for 10 days is priceless to me. But there are other Vipassana meditation retreats taught by actual Buddhist monks that I'm excited to explore. I'm also curious to see how they differ from Goenka's approach. Now, I'm not sharing this video to say that the course is bad or good. I just needed to vent, to be honest. Also, the only thing I can conclude after everything I've said is simply that Goenka is not my teacher. I don't resonate with him or with his teachings, that's all. As a matter of fact, if you have any interest in meditation, I think you should give it a try. It can be life-changing. If you want a full breakdown of how this Vipassana technique works and what exactly you do during the 10 days course, you can watch my next video right here. It should be there once it's ready, but meanwhile you can watch my previous video here. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.